Just kidding on that one. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so let's take a comfortable seat. I'm going to turn my little heater off so it's not quite so loud. And just take a few moments to move your sitting bones, shift around. And then let your hands come to rest on your legs, lengthen your sides, and as you lift your heart up high, support your heart space with your shoulder blades on your back. And then close your eyes. And take a couple big breaths here, allowing your breath to fully expand you, letting all parts of you get a little bit more open, a little more spacious with your breath. And then stack one hand over the other on your heart space and take a moment to tune into something that you're grateful for today. Then draw hands to connect, palm against palm at heart center. And as you lengthen just a little more through the back of your neck, through the crown of your head, take a deep inhale. And exhale, bow towards your heart. And softly opening your eyes, release your hands down and gently draw your shoulders up and back again. Begin to take a little ear to shoulder action, side to side movement with your head and your neck, giving yourself just a little movement through anything that might be stiff or stuck in the neck and shoulders. And then coming back into center with your head and your neck, we're going to reach around with our right arm to take a hold of the back of your neck on the left side. So you're reaching across and around. And then even more so, think of reaching low on your neck so you find that little bump that sticks out. So I often use my other hand to help me push my hand further back to try to find that little protrusion back there. And from this place, you can let your left hand rest, but pull forward with your right hand and push back into your hand. And now take your head over to the left side and go forward and back. A little sideways nod here. Take a couple big breaths. Then inhale, come back up to center and give your shoulders some rolls back. And then back up to center. Left arm reaches around. Use your right hand to help you reach further back if you need. Find that protrusion, same one you were holding onto before. And then release your right arm down. Pull forward and push back, a little resistance here. And then take your head over to the right. And then again, a little bit of forward and back motion. It's really the side of your hand that's giving the side of your neck, maybe the base of your skull, a little massage here. And then gently release, and again, roll shoulders back. And now take your hands behind you to clasp. Press palms together, lift your shoulders up and back, and with your elbows bent, hug them toward each other behind you. And from that place, with your shoulders lifted up and back, tuck your chin down, shake your head no toward the ground. And then lift up through the back of your neck and take ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. And then shake your head no. And nod your head yes. And then releasing your hands, shift the cross of your legs to the other side. And then shift your sitting bones back and broad. And now with your hands gently pressing against your legs, we're going to give ourselves a little rooting action. So as you lean over to the left side with your torso, you're pushing into your left leg with your left hand. As you lean to the right, push with your right. And then just go back and forth, walking your hands up your legs and creating a little push on one side and the other side, all the way up to your hip crease, and then all the way back down. We'll take this a couple of times, just giving ourselves that chance to feel grounded and to maybe start to allow that release through the legs, through the hips. Good. And then one more time down if you're up at the hips, or one more time up if you're down at the knees. And then releasing your hands from your legs, we're going to take our hands in front to clasp, push forward with your palms, draw shoulder blades onto your back, and lift your arms up overhead. Take a couple big breaths here. You can add a little bit of gentle movement side to side, just to find a little length from hip to armpit, but then come to center and press up. As you press up, lift your front, lift your ribs, and then broaden tops of shoulders, making that space for your head and your neck. And take ear to shoulder, where your head might come to bump right against your arm on each side. And then release your hands down. Bring fingertips just to the floor beside you to press down and lift your chest, lift your heart. Draw shoulder blades onto your back. And now fingertips up to your shoulders. And we're going to give big, wide open circles with our elbows. As you take wide open circles, we're going to go in both directions, so it doesn't matter which way you go first. But keep your head and neck lifted. And then switch directions. And now release your hands down. Bring your hands to your hips and even walk them further back so they're on your low back. And from here, push down onto the low back muscles and even onto the tops of your glutes. And lift your chest, lift your heart. Little tiny back bend here where your elbows are hugging back toward each other. Take an exhale and engage your low belly and your low ribs. Inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, come back up to center, walk your hands forward and take as deep a forward fold as your body is ready for. You might set your arms up on something here like a block, or you might come all the way down to the ground with your forearms or your hands. Take a couple big breaths and allow a little movement here side to side through your shoulders. Again, allowing your side bodies to lengthen. And then gently bring your torso back upright, hands to the floor in front of you. Shift forward onto hands and knees. And from your hands and knees, take a moment to set yourself up. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Press palms down. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Then tuck your toes under and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose, and take a full deep breath. Sending sitting bones up. Press more from the center of your back, or even more so, think of your lats, and push out through your hands. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Hands to hips, press your hips back, start to lift up and open through your chest and rise all the way up to stand. And now hands again come to your hips, and we're taking that little bit of a back bend here, opening up through our hearts a little bit as you press down onto the tops of your glutes, your low back, lift up more through your sides. Think of hip to armpit growing longer, shoulder blades engage onto your back. Extend and lift your heart up as you let your upper back round back. Take a big deep inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, tone, low belly and low ribs. Inhale one more time, big expansion through your heart space. And exhale, support your back body, low belly, low ribs engage. Inhale, rise back up. Turn your palms forward, mountain pose. Close your eyes and take a full deep breath. Noticing yourself in this space, right here, right now. And even tune in again to what it is that you are grateful for today, right now, in your practice. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, bend knees to fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen part way. Hands above your knees to send your sitting bones up. Extend forward with your heart. Exhale and fold. Planting fingertips, you're stepping right foot back into your lunge. Center off with your hips and take a deep breath. Full deep inhale, long full exhale. Fill up your back body with breath. Inhale, step forward, and exhale, step your left foot back into your lunge. Center with your hips, again, grow longer. Think hip to armpit, gaining space. Big deep breath. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, right foot steps back into your lunge. And this time, press feet down, bring your hands up to your hips to rise. Send your left hip crease back in space. Push down with your hands on your hips and lift your heart up higher. And from this place, you're bending into that place of stacking your shins straight up and down. Push your back toes down and notice your back thigh bone lifting. Full inhale, lift your heart. Full exhale, engage and support your back body. Low belly, low ribs, engage. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. And now walk your hands to the inside. Feel free to have blocks here. And also, if you'd like to, you can bring your back knee down. Or if you want a little extra work, you can keep your back knee lifted. Extend your heart forward and work down toward one elbow, maybe two elbows. Take a big, deep breath. Long spine. Find your big toe mound pushing down on your left foot. And wrap your left glute back and down. Full inhale, full exhale. Good, rise back up to your hands. And as you settle back into a downward facing dog pose, take a moment here to rotate elbow pits forward and push. Lats out through your hands. Send your sitting bones up. Deep breath. And now inhale, come forward to a plank. Feel free to use knees on the ground here if you would like. Pause and tone. So push your hands down. Extend your heart forward. Keep your belly engaged even as you lower. All the way onto your belly here. Walk your hands right back by your ribs and lift your shoulders up and back here. Before we rise up anywhere, just activating and lifting through shoulders. Lengthen the back of your neck. Now as you root down through feet and knees, also engage your low belly and engage your low ribs. Then inhale, curl open as high as your body needs. Maybe you rise up to a higher cobra. Maybe you stay down low. Find where it works the best in your body. Take one more big breath. Then tuck toes, push through knees to downward facing dog pose, or just straight to down dog. Take a full breath. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Inhaling to lengthen part way. Exhaling to fold over your legs. Plant your fingertips, you're stepping left foot back into your lunge. Pause and find that centering action with your hips. Then bring your hands up to your hips to rise. Right hip crease moves back in space. And then push down with your back toes. Strengthen and lift through your back upper thigh. Lift your chest and your heart up high. Take a full big breath. Elbows hugging back helps you to engage your shoulder blades, but then engage low belly, low ribs to support you. On your exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat and walk them to the inside. And from here, again, you can bring your back knee down if you want, or you can keep it lifted. That little extra bit of work is entirely up to you. Extend your heart forward and then work down toward one elbow, maybe two. And from this place, notice big toe mound pushing down on your front foot and your glute wrapping down. Full big breath as you lengthen through your sides, lengthen your spine. Deep inhale, long, full exhale. Good, then rise back up to your hands and settle hands on either side of your front foot to step all the way back, downward facing dog pose, and take a full breath. Inhale, come forward to a plank. Again, knees if you'd like. Grow long and tone your belly. Exhale, lower. Inhale, curl up and open as high as your body needs. Full deep breath right here. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. And now step or hop your way forward. If you have a hop in you, you're welcome to. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to hips. Press your hips back, lift up and open through your shoulders and rise all the way up to stand. And now make sure that you have blocks handy and ready for you, close to the front of your mat, and they can be something resembling blocks or a chair or something like that, but find your feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. And then lift and spread your toes and then root your toes down. Again, turn palms open, lift up and open through your shoulders. Pause here, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, bend knees to fold over your legs. Inhale, rise part way and place your hands on your blocks. So now we're going to do a little more hip opening and starting to find some balance. And just remember that you can always set your foot down and reset if balancing becomes hard. And I don't know if you can tell, but I have big blocks here to be able to extend myself nice and long. So feel free to come as high as your body needs. Lift your right leg up back behind you and think about centering off your hips here. So first is our warrior 3 variation with your right hip level with your left. Press through your heel, extend your heart. And now left thumb into your left hip crease and press your hip crease back in space. This helps to level off the hips just a little bit more. Try to keep your hip crease pressing back on your left leg. Set your left hand back down and begin to turn open with your right hip. Both hands stay on the ground for this part of it here. Extend your heart forward. Wrap your left hip back. Exhale. Both hips come back to level. And now we're going to come back to your left thumb into your hip crease. And as you push your hip crease back in space, extend your heart long and begin to turn your belly and your heart toward the left side. So a little twisted version here of our half moon pose. Exhale, both hands come back down to your blocks and set both feet back on the ground. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. And now inhale, rise part way, hands to your blocks. This time, you're gonna find your left leg lifting up. And as you lift your left leg, remember it's that warrior 3 variation first, that our hips are centered in. So your toes are rotating toward the ground. You might even be able to look back at your left toes And notice if they're turning out to the left, so rotate your entire leg so your toes are turning downward. Then bring your right thumb into your hip crease and push your hip crease back in space, giving your hips a little bit more evenness. Keep that even though you set your right hand back on your block. Keep your right hip pressing back and start to lift up and open with your left hip. Right hip stays pressing. Extend your heart forward. Big, deep breath. Then exhale, hips back into center. And again, right thumb into your hip crease. Push your hip back, extend your heart forward, and start to revolve your torso to the right side with that little bit of a twist. Exhale, both hands come back to the ground, both feet back to the ground. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Plant your fingertips. Now stepping right foot back into your lunge. Turn and plant your right heel so your foot's parallel to the back of your mat. Inhale, rise up to your warrior two. And as you rise up here, you're opening up with your front knee, finding that glute action to help you lift your sides. Big, deep breath. Good, hands to your hips and work your front leg towards straight. And then look at your left knee and all the way from your glute, try to turn your left knee toward the pinky toe edge of your left foot. Shift your hips back, extend your heart forward, and then use a block on the outside of your leg or your hand up above your knee here to find your opening in your triangle pose. Turn your belly and your heart to the right. Shoulder blades are on your back. Maybe stretch your top arm to the sky. You're finding that place with your bottom hand where your torso can be long instead of dipping downward, which is what tends to happen if we bring our hands too low. Take a big, full, deep inhale, long, full exhale. Then bend into your front knee and rise back up to your warrior two. Take a big breath. Good, next exhale, both hands come down to the ground, settle back onto downward facing dog pose for a moment and take a big breath. Inhale to your plank, knees if you'd like. Strong and expanded into the back body, lengthen into the front body. And exhale, lower. From this place, reach arms back and you can either clasp your hands or take your arms alongside your body, palms facing your body. Take an inhale and lift up and open through your chest. Exhale, engage your low belly and your low ribs. Then if you'd like to, you can inhale and lift your legs as well, lifting your chest even higher. Full deep inhale. Long, full exhale. And push all the way back into a downward facing dog pose. Full breath. And now step your way forward. Take as many steps as you need to come to forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. And plant fingertips, step your left foot back into your lunge, turn and plant your back heel, and rise to your warrior two for your second side. As you settle into your front knee, open it up, lift your ribs. Take a big breath. Hands to your hips, and work your right leg towards straight. Work the rotation of your right knee so it's turning toward your pinky toe edge. Then shift your hips back. Extend your heart forward, and you can always use a block on the outside of your leg or your hand up at your thigh, whichever feels the best in your body, however you can be long through your spine. Wherever that is, keep turning your knee toward the pinky toe edge, even as you turn your belly and your heart to the left. Shoulder blades on your back. Maybe you stretch your top arm to the sky. Big, deep breath. Inhale, bend into your front knee and rise back to warrior two. Full deep breath. Next, exhale, both hands all the way down to the front of your mat. This time, step back onto your knees and push hips back to heels. Take a child's pose. Check in with yourself for a moment. Full inhale, long, deep exhale. Three more full breaths here. Then inhale to hands and knees. And your choice, we're going to step forward into forward fold. So you can do that from right here, or you can lift your hips up and back to a down dog if that feels good to you. And then step your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Bring hands to hips. Press your hips back, lift up and open through your shoulders, and rise all the way up to stand. So now find your balance onto your right foot and touch your left toes just behind you. And as you touch your toes, you're keeping your hips centered here with the front of your mat. So now, as you begin to lift your back foot, start to tone your low belly, tone your low ribs. Hands can stay at your hips here, but start to lift your back leg by lifting your inner thigh. And from this place, you find a variation of warrior three that feels the best to your body. Take a big breath, grow longer, extend your heart forward, wrap your right hip back. Then as you're ready to, slowly lower your hands down to your blocks. Set your blocks underneath your shoulders. Send your right hip crease back in space. Extend your heart. And now you can come to the same variation that we did before with both hands staying on the ground for your half moon pose, or you can shift your right hand maybe a little further diagonally out to the right or straight ahead or wherever you need it for balance, and turn your hips open and maybe bring your left hand to your hip. As you turn open, again, notice for yourself how this feels to you today, and maybe bring your hand back down so you have two hands on blocks. Pause and try to turn your right knee toward your pinky toe edge from your glute. Turn your right hip more open, or left hip more open rather, and if it feels good to you, you're welcome to stretch up. Take a full breath. Press through your left heel. Extend your heart further forward. Exhaling, bring your left hand back to your block. Right thumb into your hip crease. We've been here before. Our hips become more even. Press your right hip back in space, extend your heart, and begin to revolve. Turn your belly and your heart to the right side. Press through your left heel and even think of lifting your left hip up, even as you turn your belly and your heart more open. Maybe you stretch your top arm to the sky. Maybe you keep your right hand at your hip. Exhale, both hands come down to the front of your mat. Both feet come down, or to your blocks rather. Both feet come down. Take an inhale and lengthen partway. Exhale and fold over your legs. Inhale, extend your heart, and then bring your hands up to your hips. Press back with your hips, lift your shoulders, and rise all the way up. And then pause, give your legs a little shake, turn your palms open, close your eyes, and take a full breath. And now find your balance onto your left foot. Right toes step just a little behind you, but touch them to the ground. and center off with your hips. From here, lengthen your sides, tone your low belly, and begin to lift from your inner thigh on your right leg as you find your variation of warrior 3 on this side. Full deep breath, press through your heel, extend your heart, tone, low belly, low ribs. And then slowly, as you're ready to, you're setting both hands down on your blocks. And from this place, wrists under shoulders, center off your hips, and press your left thigh back. Tone your belly here. And as you start to find your half moon pose, you can shift where your left hand is to wherever you need it to be for balance. Turn open with your right hip. Start to turn your belly and your heart to the right. Wrap your left glute down and under so your knee is turning more toward your pinky edge. Press through your heel. Maybe you stretch your top arm to the sky. Full big deep breath. On your exhale, both hands come back to your blocks. And now hips level out. Find your right hand for your balance. Left thumb into your hip crease. Press your hip back. Press through your right heel. Extend your heart. Now as you turn your belly and your heart to the left side, your hips want to shift. So press through your left heel again and lift your left hip even as you turn your belly and your heart to the right side. Big deep breath. Shoulder blades are on your back. Maybe you stretch your top arm to the sky. Maybe you keep your hand at your hip. Full inhale, long deep exhale. Next exhale, both hands come down to your blocks. Both feet come back to the floor. Inhale and lengthen partway. Exhale and fold over your legs. Plant hands and step back, downward facing dog pose. Take a full big breath. And now inhale, come forward to a plank. Strong through your core, lifting through your belly and your low ribs. Extend your chest forward. Put your shoulder blades onto your back. Exhale, lower all the way to your belly. And from your belly, we're going to take 2 bow poses or Dhanurasana. So you're welcome to take half bow. Either bend both knees and reach back for both feet, or bend just one knee and reach back for one foot. Your choice, whichever feels the best. And now, wherever you are here, put both shoulder blades on your back. Begin to engage your feet. Press both feet or one foot into your hands as you start to lift through your chest. Lift your heart. Take a big, deep breath as you hug thighs in toward each other. Tone your low belly. Tone your low ribs. Inhale, rise just a little higher. And exhale, slowly release all the way down. Release your feet. Maybe set your head on your hands here in front of you. Full breath. And now, second one, if you did just a half version last time, then you'll bend the other leg. So bend one knee or both knees and reach back for your foot or feet, whichever feels the best. And if you have both feet, walk your knees in a little bit so you have hip distance with your thighs. Now, as you put your shoulder blades onto your back, start to engage your feet and press them into your hands. Tone your low belly and your low ribs. Take a big, deep breath. Next inhale, maybe rise up just a tiny bit higher. And exhale, lower all the way back down. Hands underneath your head here if that's comfortable, or you can turn your head to one side, but bend your knees And windshield wiper your legs, sway them from side to side. And then release your legs and push all the way back into a child's pose. Hips to heels, knees wide or narrow. And then your choice, you can take arms back alongside your body to allow your shoulders to drape toward the ground, or you can reach your arms forward, or you can even bend your elbows, hands together in prayer position behind your head or behind your neck. Three more deep breaths right here. And now inhale and gently push yourself up to your seat. And we're going to come all the way down to sitting bones. And now extend right leg out in front of you, left foot into the side of your leg. And if your knee is considerably lifted here from tightness in the hips, then maybe set something underneath your knee for some support. And as you shift your sitting bones, make both feet active. So think of pushing the pinky toe edge of your left foot into the ground so your ankle feels a little lifted. Pull your toes back toward your nose on your right leg, and even more so, think of drawing from your heel into your hip. Helps to make sound effects. Press fingertips down, lift your ribs, and then turn your belly more toward your right leg. And then as you hinge from the hips and fold, feel free to reach across with your left hand to the outside edge of your right foot or leg, or all the way to your foot, wherever you need to be. Inhale, extend your heart longer. Exhale, as you fold, think of pulling low ribs in and twisting just a little bit more to the right. Big deep breath. Then inhale, rise all the way back up and extend your left leg. Right foot into the side of your leg. And same thing. If you've got some considerable space here underneath your knee, then maybe set something there for support. Shift your sitting bones. Engage your pinky toe edge of your right foot, ankle lifted. Pull your toes back toward your nose, and then from the heel to the hip, draw in. Press down with fingertips, lift your ribs. And then as you hinge from the hips and fold, you're welcome to reach across your body with your right hand to the outside of your leg, or you can reach to the same side, that's okay too. But ideally, we're getting a little bit of a turn here through our torso. So now, inhale, extend your heart further forward. Exhale, fold. And then draw your low ribs in to help you twist just a little bit more to the left side. Big deep breath. Then inhale, rise all the way back up. And now set soles of feet together. And you can always have props underneath your knees or blanket up over your feet and under your legs. Or you can simply hold on to shins, big toes, or fingertips on the floor to sit tall. Take a big deep breath here. And as you sit tall, think of reaching out through your thighs. So try to lengthen them outward. And now bring these up together and make your way all the way onto your back. And from your back, we're going to take a couple of bridge poses, and one of them can always be a restorative version. So you can always have a block handy and ready for you, or a pillow or bolster. But lay all the way down onto your back. And before we come into our bridge poses, we'll take one more hip opener. So now cross right ankle over your left knee. So you have this figure four pose. And then as you draw your legs as close to your body as you're ready for, You're gonna take your right hand to your right thigh and give your thigh a little push away from you. As you push your thigh away from you, sometimes that helps your hips to even out a little bit. Sometimes it just gives a little different stretch, maybe through the glutes or through even your IT bands. Take a couple big breaths here, and you're welcome to rock a little side to side to allow a little more space at the low back. But then as close to your body as you would like, you can hold on now wherever you would like to. Maybe that's behind the back side of your left thigh. Maybe that's onto your right knee and foot. And then if you want, you can add the hamstring stretch, extending your left leg long. Maybe you reach out for your left calf. Wherever you are, think about keeping your sitting bones tilted down. So if I reach up for my calf, my sitting bones don't stay tilted down. So come back to a little bit lower. Find where that is for you. Big breath. And then gently bend your knee, set your left foot down and set your right foot down. And then cross left ankle over your right knee and draw your legs as close to your body as you're ready for. Flex both feet. And then it's your left hand coming to your thigh to give it a little push away, even as you're drawing your legs in toward you. Again, that just adds a little difference in stretch sometimes. Take a big breath. Maybe even find that rock again, side to side, lengthening the low back. And then hold on wherever it feels best to maybe add the hamstring stretch. Always optional. You don't have to take the hamstring stretch. But keep that tilt of your pelvis, so maybe your low back is trying to lift a little bit. Then bend your right knee and set your foot on the ground. Bring your left foot down as well, and now bring feet so that they're close to your sitting bones. I don't tend to say reach out and try to touch your heels because we all have different reaches. And so for me, that's a little too close for my feet. So you need to try to find that place that when we come into a bridge pose, we come to about straight up and down with our shins. Hard to tell sometimes on yourself. You're keeping your thighs hip distance, elbows come onto the ground right beside you, a little ways from your sides and push down. Inch your shoulder blades underneath you and then tilt your pelvis so that your sitting bones are trying to move down. You're creating a little low back bend. Now tone, low belly and low ribs, hug in without dropping your back down. Now inhale and lift your hips up. And as you lift your hips up, maybe inch your shoulder blades a little further together. Hug your thighs in like you're squeezing onto a block and reach out through your thighs and through your knees toward the foot of your mat. Push through your feet into the ground. Little gentle press of your head into the ground. Exhale, lower all the way back down. And now walk your feet out a little wide and drop your knees in together to touch. Hands to your hips. You can close your eyes here for a few moments if you want to. Take a deep breath. And now we're going to take our psoas stretch version of bridge pose. So if you would like to, you can always use a prop underneath your hips for this and turn this into a little bit more of a restorative pose. If you want to, you can use your hands to support you instead. So as you walk your feet in toward your sitting bones, inhale, lift your hips. Set a block underneath them if you would like, or you're going to rock side to side and work your hands underneath your low back, and then walk your feet out. Wherever that is for you, take a big breath. If you have a block underneath your hips, you might reach your arms overhead. Full big inhale, long deep exhale. And you can always switch if one way becomes tiring. You can always switch over to putting a block or a prop under your hips and try the other way. We have 3 more big breaths in whatever variation you're taking. And now gently walk your feet in and slip your prop out from underneath your hips or your hands out as you slowly lower your hips to the ground. And this time, bring your knees up close and rock side to side. And now as you set your feet back on the ground, pick whatever variation of resting would feel good to your body. So feel free to set a pillow or bolster underneath your hips, a block or blocks underneath your knees in a butterfly, or maybe a blanket over the top of you. Come to your favorite version of Shavasana, recognizing this place as where your body gets to settle, where you get to release all the work you're doing or have done, and let it soak in. Let it settle in. begin to take a deeper breath. And bring gentle movement into fingers and into toes. And as you're ready to, you're bending your knees, rolling over to one side, and pausing for a full breath. And then slowly pushing yourself back up to your seat. And now connecting hands together at heart center. Take a moment with your breath to move your breath thoroughly through your body. And taking another moment in time to tune back into something of gratitude. What are you grateful for today? Have a very peaceful and beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.